Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to review and then take test number 3. Guys, today's objective is to identify the solution to a quadratic equation. There's no notes assignment, not a traditional notes assignment here today. But again, we are looking for the solution to quadratic equations. Right, we can use a table to find the solution, we can graph it, or we can factor it. Those are the 3 ways we've looked at. Look at this one right here. It has only one solution. It just comes down and touches the x-axis in one place. Because it's a perfect square, x plus 1 squared. Okay, it has one solution, x equals -1. Because again, x plus 1 or x plus 1, it's the same thing. Either one of those must be 0. Okay? And the essential question, what's the solution to a quadratic equation? What is the value of x when the function is 0, when y is 0? Remember, guys, the solution to a quadratic equation, it means a number of different things. Again, the value or values of x when y is 0. It's where the quadratic graph, when you graph it, where it touches or crosses the x-axis. Because that's where y is 0. It's sometimes called the zeros of the function. And remember, kind of an easy way to solve a quadratic equation is to factor it. Once you have it in factored form, the solution is readily available. Because x minus r and x minus s, r and s are the solutions. That's where they cross the x-axis. Also remember, y'all, the axis of symmetry. It's always halfway in between the two x-intercepts. And the x-coordinate of the vertex is the axis of symmetry. It is the axis of symmetry, okay? You can find the average of the two x-intercepts to find the axis of symmetry. Or just count, look halfway in between them, okay? All right, again, how do you find the solution to a quadratic equation? One way is to factor it. Set it equal to 0 and solve for x. Another way is to graph it and see where it crosses the x-axis. And another way, okay, is to generate a table of values and see what values of x make the function 0. Again, as an example, here's a table of values for a quadratic. All right, look at the y values. Right there, y equals 0. Okay, so look back at the x. So one of the solutions is -1. That's one of the solutions. All right? But there's another solution. If you go down the values of y, 4.5, 1, and all of a sudden it's negative. Where it switches from positive to negative, or from negative to positive, it must have crossed the x-axis in there somewhere. So somewhere in there, it was 0. So look back at the x. The values of x between these two x values, make an estimate. I'll say, well, between -2.5, or -2, and -3 is -2.5. That's my estimate. Okay? Look where the signs change value. See, here they change value, but that's 0. We know that's one of the solutions. There's another 0 up here, too. It's somewhere around -2.5. All right? Remember, quadratics can have two solutions, one solution, or no real solutions. All right, let's look at this first one, no solution. All right, it never touches the x-axis. the minimum value of this function is above the x-axis, so it has no solutions. Or it could be upside down, where the maximum value could be below the x-axis, so it would have no solutions. All right, the one in the middle here, it just touches the x-axis. It's a perfect square, so it only has one solution. And this one over here touches the x-axis in two different places, so it has two solutions. And remember, this one, the minimum is below the x-axis. The minimum, everything else is above this, above right here. So it has two solutions. If it was upside down and the maximum was above the x-axis, it would still swoop down and touch the x-axis in two places and have two solutions. Okay, keep that in mind. Remember, you can factor a quadratic and solve it by setting it equal to 0 and using the zero product property. All right, set each individual factor equal to 0 and solve for x. Remember, initially, always write the equation in standard form. All right, that's how you factor it. You can also use Desmos and see where it crosses the x-axis. All right, that's it, guys. Today's green folder has a Jamboard assignment and a practice test. All right, I'll open up the Jamboard here in a minute. The orange folder today has a discussion assignment, and it has test number 3 in the orange folder. All right, that's it. Thanks.